Where are you right now, by the way?
Right now I'm in Switzerland.
Oh, nice. Do you like it there?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's nice. I'm visiting some friends and family, and then next week I'm going to Italy, and then I'm actually going back to the States. So I'm kind of like all over the place right now.
nice. So you've been in Europe for like a couple of months now, I guess.
No, no, actually, just I'm here for 3 weeks because the
Oh,
Fear Factory tour just finished in France. So I'm staying here between the European leg and the US leg
yeah,
of the demanufactured tour. So
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so I'm going back in pretty soon, like
Yeah.
10 more days.
It seems you had a very hectic summer. I've seen that you've played some such an amazing shows and venues. So how was that for you?
Yeah, that was amazing. Like this tour was pretty incredible. I think it was like 26 shows
Oh,
um, in like over 18 countries. So, we've done some cool festivals like Wacken,
yeah,
obviously, and Brutal Assault, Bloodstock,
yeah.
Reload in Germany, Alcatraz in Belgium. So that was pretty cool.
Wow. That yeah.
Yeah.
Was that would you say this was like one of your bigger runs touring wise?
Um, in terms of like shows,
Yeah.
not the biggest.
Yeah.
I think the longest and the biggest we've done was with Butcher Babies opening for Fear Factory in
Yeah.
2023, and that was like I think almost 8 weeks in
Wow.
Europe
Wow.
in the winter,
Yeah.
and I think actually this come and run with Fear Factory in the United States is probably going to be around 40 shows again. So
Wow.
it's pretty much going to be one of the longest ones.
Yeah.
So usually 7 to 8 weeks was like the longest,
Wow.
or is the longest.
This does sound insane to be fair. Like,
Yeah.
do you get like this sort of some sort of a fatigue over, not being at home for like a longer period of time and just being on the road for, such an extensive period?
A little bit, a little
Yeah.
bit. But I think it's usually the first couple of weeks that like are going by really slow.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man,
Yeah.
we've only been on the road for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks. And usually after 10,
Yeah.
15 days, it's like going by so quick, you
Yeah.
know. I remember that run with Fear Factory where, the last 5 shows, I'm like, what? That's it? So, but generally, if you have a great time on tour, the shows are great, then usually it goes by pretty quick and you don't feel homesick,
Yeah.
like
What's
too
what's
too too crazy.
yeah. What's
At least for
what
me. Then everybody else is different.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. What's like what would you say is the best and the worst part for you when it comes to you being on the road?
I mean, the best part is, well, obviously, you get to play your music or just music in generally in
Yeah.
front of people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, essentially that's why we're doing it, right? To
Yeah.
to to play live, to perform. Um, and then obviously there's at least for me, like music has taken me to places that I, never imagined,
Yeah.
to go. And so that's an amazing part. So the traveling, getting to, having a chance to explore places, going to places where you normally wouldn't or couldn't,
Yeah.
under different circumstances. The worst part is um, not having like a steady home in a
Yeah.
way. Sure, you're on the bus, but like, you sleep in a different bed. You always wake up in a different kind of place, different kind of
Yeah.
environment, different dressing rooms, different cities, different. So sometimes it's just hard to like find a routine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So you're always adapting, you know. Sometimes you got to do meet and greets. Sometimes you got to do, sometimes it's like a festival. Sometimes it's a headline show. So times are always different. So you always have to adjust your routine or your daily schedule based on like around the schedule of the show.
Yeah.
So that to me is always like, you know, the hurry up and wait kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think people sometimes really neglect exactly this aspect, like, of a musician's life when, you know, at some point it does get very chaotic, and I guess it gets very tiring to constantly adjust to a new routine and to a new dynamic, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. And it's like, yeah, I mean, if we complain, it's on a very high level
Yeah.
because we get to do what we want to do. But it's like when friends of mine or, you know, other people in general, they're like, "Oh man, but you know, you're on tour, and you know, it's like, you
Yeah.
know, you play music, and yes, but it comes with a price."
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And and not to forget, like, the, you know, family events that you miss, you know, weddings, anniversaries, you know, and again, being away from your family, from your loved ones, from your friends and everything. So it's not always easy.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I've always found it very funny because I find it very unfair that basically right now in society, it's pretty much unacceptable for, you know, for musicians or for entertainers of any sort to complain. Although obviously there are very negatives when it comes to their, you know, respective activities. And you know, I just find it very, again, unfair that you're in a position where you can't complain because the people opposed of you would be like, whoa, but you know, you're being a rock star and you're playing stages. So, you know, you can't really complain. But at the same time, it's obviously there's so many things that make it, you
Yes.
know, hard. It's every other thing in life, right? So,
Yes. Yes. I agree. I totally agree.
yeah.
100%. Yeah, I just think it's I mean, essentially we were able to do what we love.
Yeah.
And I think as long as you do that and you're able to do that, and me personally, I'm really grateful to do that. So I can manage everything else very well.
Yeah.
So it's the negative aspect, if you will, is way smaller
Yeah.
compared to the to you know, the things we just mentioned, like the traveling, getting to see new places, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a very small percentage
Yeah.
overall in the whole thing, but yeah, you know, it's not always easy, you
Yeah.
know.
And I guess it can weigh you down, especially, you know, I've always thought that probably the aspect that is suffering the most is like maintaining proper, healthy relationships, whether it's like with loved ones and friends or whatever the case might be. You're just not in a situation to
Yeah,
do that, right?
exactly. But not just that, but also on the road. Imagine like sharing a bus with the same people for
Yeah.
six,
Oh,
7 weeks, you
yeah.
know, and there's so many different personalities, so many different characters, and so another thing that I find really hard is you're always surrounded by people, and that's not always bad, but it's like, you know, on the bus, there's always people. And
Yeah.
then you go to the club, to the venue, there's always people, and everybody wants to talk to you, you know, like, and then
Yeah.
after the show, there's obviously the fans, you know, they want to take pictures, and, you know, don't get me wrong, I love doing all that stuff, but like at a certain point, you're like, your social meter is just really low,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and, you know, I try to take walks, you know, when, you know, you have a chance, you know, go to the city,
Yeah.
explore a little bit, and just, you know, just try to step away a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that can be challenging sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine that. And, I've discussed this with lots of musicians, friends, and I've personally, I can imagine this would be probably the hardest thing for me because I can't imagine if you are like slightly introverted and if you need your space and your time sometimes and you just can't have it, it's insane. I find
that. Yeah. Luckily for me, I mean, I love being around people and I'm always down for a good time.
Yeah.
So it's less of a problem for me, but sometimes I feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, if you're like more like an introvert and, it happens, and I'm sure these people, they find their own routine, how they can escape that whole thing.